All right. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are well here. All right. Breaking news alerts. All right. So after hitting 449 yesterday in the post hours, overnight regrets because the news of the day would be that the Fitch credit rating company has warned it may have to downgrade credit rating dozens of banks, and that includes they even listed out they gave everybody a hit list of the banks that they're going to downgrade, and then that one, of course, the biggest one is J.P. Morgan and Chase. All right, JPM. So a lot of weakness in the market. They dropped the market about 2.5 points, 3 points in the pre-market. And then they dumped it all down towards the end of the day to break that 443 and finally fill the gap on the daily chart that everybody's just been wondering, like, okay, can we just get this gap filled? And they finally did. And at the end of the day, you saw volume come in. I'm not going to say that it's like anything indicative of what's going to happen tomorrow, but you had a very, very high volume, highest volume of the day in the last 5 minutes of the day. So now that that gap is filled, are we optimistic that we're going to rip faces? Not really. One of the reasons is because we couldn't close above the 50 days. So SPY has lost its 50-day moving average and has not been under the 50-day moving average since the March-April timeframe back here. All right. So that's a very critical, important 50-day. And you can see the 20-day sloping down, 9 and 15 sloping down. And as these slope down, you're going to see them as resistances. So every time we try to run up, there's going to be resistance unless something starts shifting in terms of sentiment or Fitch does not do the downgrade. Because at this point, they're warning that it may happen, all right, but they're not saying when or whatever. So the market's just going to be constant fear of what, especially with news overnight. So you're going to see a lot of selling. But at this point, if they don't downgrade at least over the next couple of days, we'll see what happens, right? But tomorrow you do have FOMC minutes release. I don't think it's going to be anything specific or anything new to the market, but the market will probably chop around. One of the reasons why we track this 443 level so critical in this uptrend is because of this 4-hour chart. Now that we have broken that trend, what are the next potential levels? All right, as we look into July and June lows would be 431 or 430 range, and another high or low in June or early July would be the 436 level, 436 to 431. Those are potential magnets now that we have broken the trend. Of course, it's not going to, it's just not going to go straight down, right? There's going to be a lot of chop. There's going to be a lot of sideways. We might even get a little pump back up to 50 DMA tomorrow. But it just looks like with the sentiment that's going on, it just seems like, okay, it's just short the pops, right? All right. Volume profile wise, guys, this is a high profile, high volume area of the 443. And that's why a lot of people say, a lot of chart people, folks are saying 443 is so critical. But once you break that, you don't have much of a volume support to about under 440 and potentially, like I said, 436, where this area held back in late June. If you can see this area here where the market actually started breaking out and then broke more, right? So with this backdrop of this bearish sentiment with downgrades on banks, downgrade on the government, Moody's downgrade on this and that, is just going to be this endless cycle. At least for the foreseeable next week or two. So we have 2 more weeks, guys, left, in the month. And I think in September, things will start clearing up. Of course, the market is thinking about not just FOMC minutes tomorrow, but also Jackson Hole's speech, which is at some point next week. In addition, you have NVIDIA earnings that can significantly impact the markets, okay? So with that, tomorrow, we're just going to chop. Whatever the levels they give us tomorrow, we'll play it. Tomorrow, we'll start brand new. All right. But, at this point, we finally broke this level. So 44357s or the low of the day here is going to be an obvious resistance if you're playing the minute charts, right? If we can even hop back in here, yeah, there could be a potential for 446. We know that there is a gap here at 448 levels. All right. These gaps will eventually get filled. I know it's probably not going to be tomorrow, but ES has a gap there. Okay. Above the market as well. So, I put a line here at 440. That's going to be a psychological support for tomorrow. If we break that, then it's just really, really nasty. However, you can expect at least, given the stochastics reading wise on the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour that we are oversold. All right. So, there's going to be potentials for a little mini rally back and forth. And we could definitely expect that at some point tomorrow. So Qs, all right, Qs, yesterday looked really good, right? Until this whole rating thing this morning. We could not close above this particular trend line. We cannot close above any of the 915 EMAs. We lost the 50 DMA once again today, where we actually closed above it, all right? You look at the Qs, you don't have much of a gap until literally down here. This is where the 423 gap lives for SPY. Here on the daily chart, you have support at 358 under 360. Volume definitely came in towards most of the day, but Apple did get a lot of volume at the end of the day here. So for whatever reason, we don't know. You do have this gap fill below the market at 170, right under 176. Heading over to Microsoft. All right, Microsoft. I still like this setup, but after today's closing, not so much. You still do have a falling wedge on the daily, and it came back down to retest it and wicked off this trend line. So we'll have to see what happens in tomorrow's, but no clear guesses or confidence in either direction. Tesla broke trend today, making lower lows and could not even achieve a double bottom bounce. So obviously that leaves the door open for 230. All right. 231 is your EMA 100 move. All right. A lot of you guys, a lot of people asked me about this, the Tesla weekly. I think this is pretty spot on at this point. All right. You're coming pretty close to a wave 4. And this is what it's looking like now. So 230 or 228 is my wave 4 target. All right. And we're coming really close to that. All right. For a potential bounce in Tesla, which would ignite another rally. I'm not saying right now, I'm not saying at all it's going to go to 253, but it's looking like this is a wave 4, and the wave 3 definitely completed after the earnings earlier last month. So there's a lot there. I think one more chart here. Amazon. Okay. Amazon, all right, cut it loose, all right. It closed right at the trend, 137, all right, but it's wicked off the 9 EMA so far. Still good look for tomorrow potentially, but we're really going to have to play hour by hour tomorrow, given that, like I said, 443 was lost. Yes, we're above it right now, but not looking good. If I will still stand at this point, all right. If you guys have read my Twitter feeds and whatnot, I did say, all right, the bottom of this dip is 440 to 443. Qs would be 365 to 368, and we're still within range. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad out there right now. But I don't think that all hope is lost. However, we'll just have to play it, like I said, minutes at a time tomorrow and the next couple of days until market figures out how much lower this wants to go. All right. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in the morning.